Hi Year 8s, I've just created this little video for you to run you through a couple of tips for presenting with your video presentation. Some of you may have already started practicing that, others of you may not be up to that yet at all. Remember that this assignment is due at the end of this week, so I do expect that you'll be doing work both in class and at home to make sure it is the best that you can produce. I'm actually giving you quite a bit of time for this in class because I want you to have the opportunity to create something great, and when it does come to presenting, you actually need to allow yourself time to practice, to refine, to make it better. So first thing I want to say is the first time that you present should not be the recording that you download and then upload to Schoology. It should be that you've done it a few times before so I can see confidence in the information that you're relaying to me. So I'll start by going through a couple of little tips. After this, of course, you can get started wherever you're at. If you're researching, if you're writing a script, perhaps if you're already up to presenting, that's what you'll be going on with today. So the first tip that I want to share with you guys is to begin your presentation by introducing yourself and your topic. So you may have been sitting there writing your script and thinking, I have no idea how to begin this. The best way, and of course the way that I would like you to begin, is by introducing yourself. Tell me who you are and tell me what topic it is you're going to cover. You might be even more thorough than that, and you might introduce the subtopics that you're going to be discussing in your presentation as well. So sometimes people get a little bit nervous in presenting, and they don't take the time to do the little things like that will start off a presentation well. It's kind of like in an essay. In an essay, you always put in an introduction. You don't just jump straight into your body paragraphs. You must introduce your topic. And of course, as a presenter, you're also introducing yourself. So second tip, start your presentation logically. You don't want to start your presentation halfway through the information that you're going to be telling your audience. So think about what information you should share first. I would not recommend starting off by telling your audience about the peasants and the way of life of peasants in the Middle Ages during the feudal system before telling them who the peasants were, where they sat in the feudal system, and what the feudal system was. So make sure that your information is logically structured. The person who is watching your presentation, you should really be leading them through this information, okay? So ask yourself, what does my audience need to know first? And that's how you can start off writing your script. So next up, I want you to, in your presentation, identify words that were new to you when you started researching this topic. So this is a new topic for most of you. In fact, I think almost all of you. I don't think you've done many studies on this, so you're going to come across words that are not familiar. If you do, I don't want you to just pretend they're not there. I'd love it if you could actually explain to your audience what these words mean. So during your presentation, there are going to be words that will come up like feudal, hierarchy, serfdom, monarch, etc. And these are words that you don't use often in everyday life. I want you to show me that you know what they mean by identifying them and explaining their meaning in your presentation. I think this is really important for making sure you tick off all the criteria in your rubric. One of your criteria is terminology. I want to make sure you actually know what these words mean. You're not just using them because you've seen them written down and you think they sound good, or you think they've got something to do with the Middle Ages, but you're not exactly sure what. So identifying words is really important. You can do this in multiple ways. You could start off your presentation with a definitions list and go through that for your audience. Or you could, perhaps after every slide or after one or two slides, you could have a definitions list that you can go through and explain what the words mean that you may have already used. Okay, so it's up to you. Get a little bit creative, put your own stamp on your presentation. Next tip, smile and relax. A good presentation is always well rehearsed. And I can tell you it's really obvious when a presentation has not been rehearsed. So I really need you to make the best use of the time that you've been given. Not only do you have time in class, but you've got time at home as well. So make sure that you're using that well by giving yourself time to rehearse and record a couple of times before your final recording. Don't try to tick this box and just be like, yep, I've recorded it, done, that's it. I want you to watch over your recording as well. Think about it. Could anything be better? Is there anything that's distracting you? Is there anything that you think, I'd rather that I hadn't said that first. I wanted to say this next. Make sure that rehearsal time is well used. And of course, once you've done it a few times, you can actually smile and relax. I don't know of anyone that can smile and relax the first time they're giving a presentation without practicing. So lastly, you might be thinking about how you're going to finish this presentation. I want you to finish the presentation with a statement about why you think knowing this information is important. So why is it important that we study history? Why is it important that we study this particular time in history and this particular government system? The feudal system is a core part of the Year 8 curriculum. We think it's important that you know that. I want to hear, why do you think that's important? Okay? So I hope these tips have been helpful. They're just little tips. If there's anything I've said and you don't understand or you want some clarification on, maybe I'm not clear, just come and ask me about it and I'll be able to help you. For the rest of this lesson, this is pretty much your time. I'm happy to accommodate people if they want to be writing scripts, if they want to be researching. If you're up to presenting, I might look over your work before you start recording. But other than that, it's your time, and good luck.